Okay, everyone, so I thought I'd do just a little bit of fun. So we'll do Harry and Meghan as an update, just because you'll see tagged in the video that I did do a video on this, not so a few years ago, because people kept asking me, there was like, Elisa, will you do Harry and Meghan? So again, I'm unbiased. I don't really care about this particular couple. It's just interesting to see people going on so much about it. So let's see what we can see with the current energies and what's going to be the likely outcome. Okay, so let's take a look. So what is really happening with Meghan and Harry? Is it just fluff, or is there sustenance? Okay. So we do have this Queen of Pentacles with the Strength card. So Strength card would be Leo, and obviously Meghan is a Leo. So I feel like this, I don't think she's invested in this marriage for love. I think it's about security. So she sees security in him with this Queen of Pentacles. And for me, the Strength card is her. So also I would say he's coming up as feminine because he's a Virgo. And this is about maybe he's getting tired of the control. Because Strength card is a person who has control issues. They wanna restrain, they wanna control. So how is Harry feeling about Meghan? So he's definitely not thinking about staying, but he's also not thinking about going. So the Two of Pentacles he's kind of up in the air. Part of him has got one foot out the door, but the other is kind of staying. But the Two of Pentacles, I think also he wants to go back to the UK. I don't think he likes the life in Montecito, and I think he does want to go back to the UK. Okay. So Knight of Swords. He's also feeling angry and he's feeling triggered. It might be to do with the fashion week, the kind of things that she's supporting, the energy that she's given out there. Okay, how is she feeling about him? Not good. Temperance reversed is the connection is not there, the peace is not there. Fear, I would say. But yeah, I would say he's definitely, the Two of Pentacles is thinking about relocation. And the Temperance card reversed is the connection is not there, the peace is not there. So a strong message is that she's been being manipulative the whole time. I think the only reason she's holding on to this is because of what he provides as a prince. Even though he doesn't have a lot of money, the kind of reputation, what he's got to offer. She's stressed out, she's worried. I think she knows that she's losing power, she's losing grip on him. King of Swords. So the King of Swords could be some kind of advisor. And I did pick up that energy, so this would be somebody who's been advising Prince Harry. I do think he sees her true colours. Does he want to stay in this marriage? Does he want to stay committed? He doesn't know. He's kind of confused. So the Ace of Swords is kind of when you're going back and forth in your head, you're like questioning. So I'd say right now it's up in the air for him. What about her? Does she want to stay in this marriage? The Emperor, yes, because of who he is. Because the Emperor is someone who's got status, he's so yes. And then you've got the High Priestess reversed. Also, the Emperor is the father, so it is the father of her kids. But I do think her behaviour is now starting to become a serious problem, because with that Strength card, this is someone who's very, very controlling. They like control. Okay, so where do we see this going? Okay, what do we see moving forward? A lot of stress. Being at breaking point. She's at breaking point. So I'm going to say that part of him knows that this is toxic. And I feel like with that King of Swords, this is somebody who's telling him that. Maybe you're better going back to the UK, making up with your family. You could still co-parent, don't live a lie. But she definitely wants to hold on to him. One, because it's the father of her kids. Okay. She doesn't want to look like a failure. Somebody who's got controlling instincts doesn't like, especially Leo, they don't like to be seen as they failed. And the other is because of who he is. So the Emperor is someone who's authoritative, and he's somebody who's high affluence. He is a king, right? Okay, so we do have the Ace of Cups. I do think there's going to be an element of trying to sweeten him up. That's what all the looks were about. So I do think she's going to try to hold on as much as possible. Okay, and then let's look at long term. Will this last? The Sun card reversed. If it does last, it's going to be force. So they're not going to be happy. Because the Sun card is happiness, okay? This is the energy changes. Long term, especially her, she's not going to be happy. The thing is this is two people who are just very, very different. They want different things. Okay? I'm going to say that I feel like it's pretty miserable. So I'm going to say that they're pretty miserable. And it's more about keeping face. So again, I don't like the media. I don't like the way some people are. If you don't like something, then don't watch it. Certainly don't be making content. You know, I've seen a lot of people who say they hate them, but they just can't get enough. Again, that's their character. But I know that if I dislike a person, I don't give them time. I don't watch the content. You know, that's me personally. What is it they say? Bitch, you're a fan. But it's not wrong. I'd say people are on it. She definitely has controlling issues. I think that I'm gonna say that it was from the beginning. It was an agenda. I don't think she's in love with him. I think it's about what he brings to the table. In other words, with his reputation and his standing. Because he is an emperor, like, this is what I got. So it could last another couple of years because we're getting a 10. I don't see it going past that. It might end soon. And if they do try to force it, this is two people who don't like each other. This is two people who are not compatible, but they have to keep face, right? In other words, we're fucking miserable, but let's just keep the act going. It just leads to misery for both parties. Sometimes the best thing you can do is, yes, we're parents to these kids, but the best thing we can do is co-parent these kids, go our separate ways, preserve our mental health, preserve our energy. I also feel bad for her because it's like she's really deeply not happy, and the level of stress that she's going to go through just to keep this connection. She also makes herself look bad. Because I feel like people are on it, people can see the truth. And I think what she'd be better doing is separating from him and going back to what she was. You know, in other words, being someone she's become him. She no longer is a woman in her own right, whereas before she was a woman in her own right. I think the best thing she could do is actually separate from him and show the world, I don't need no prince. You know, I think the best thing he could do is go back to the UK and reconnect with his family, because that's really what he wants deep down, the Six of Cups. He's longing maybe for the connection with Prince William. Again, this is just entertainment purposes. I just wanted to do a quick update. But that's what I would say. I would say that this marriage is miserable. It was a mistake from the start. I think it was glitz and glamour. It was rose-tinted glasses. But pretty early on, people could see that it was not compatible, that it was a mistake. I think he's feeling castrated by her. So, in other words, like emasculated. And also it comes down to they're just different people. They want different lives. And the Virgo in him is longing for tradition and for what he had. Because I feel like in the past he longed for freedom, but now he's seen the cost of that. So I think the best thing is that both of them would be better to separate and to co-parent. But even if this marriage lasts, it's a farce. I don't think it's love. It's not built off love. It might be built off lust. And I think the best thing to do is to separate now and separate amicably before too much damage is done. Just an objective opinion.